Welcome, welcome. You've been listening to OC Remix. That was Pure Heart from Frederick. I'm sorry, it's a foreign name. I'm probably gonna pronounce it wrong, by Frederick Hawthorne. It's from his album Esther's Dreams. Find that and more songs like it on ocremix.org. Now, today, we're going to be playing a bit of an older game, as you can see here. Let me go ahead and unmute that so you can listen to those nice... What would you call those chip tunes? I don't know if that's the correct word for it, but... Man, does this send me back in time. No, we don't want to watch the little intro cinematic. Do we want to watch a little bit of the intro cinematic? It was a day like any other. Product Development Division 4. Now, the reason I'm going back to this game in particular was because the other day, my nephew and I, we were kind of reminiscing about some old games. And this one came up in particular, and I was like, oh man, I sunk so many hours into that game. And like, this was an original Game Boy Advance game, and I was thinking, man, I really want to go back and play that. And him and I, we booted it up and played it for a little while, and kind of was like, oh yeah, and I remember this thing, and this thing, and this thing, and there was like the classes and the subclasses. And I was like, you know what? I think I want to play this on stream. And so I went actually onto the Virtual Console and found out, hey, you know what? It's on the Virtual Console. It's perfect. And him and I were talking about it. And I was like, you know what? It's kind of a bummer that they never made a sequel to this game. And as it turns out, they actually, in doing a little research, they actually did end up making a sequel of sorts. It wasn't sequel in terms of it was a continuation of the story as much as it was kind of the same universe and mechanics. It was Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. No, it wasn't Tactics Advance. It was Final Fantasy Tactics A2 Grimoire of a something or other. I don't remember exactly what, but the reason I guess I missed it was because it came out on the Nintendo DS, which I never ended up getting. Like, the last handheld console I got from Nintendo was actually my Game Boy Advance. Oh, we're going back into the thing again. So, I don't know if I ever actually beat this game. Like, in order to beat the main story, I think it's quite a long time, because you got to kind of play through a lot of side missions and wait for the story mission to come back up. But, Kitty, you always want to eat my lap. No lap time right now. You had lap time this morning. Come back later. So, I'm going to play through that a little bit this weekend. We'll see if I continue on with it or not. It's always a roll of the dice on how I feel, so... Now, I am actually playing this on the Virtual Console, so that means I got some nice, save states. I can save at any point in time. The downside of playing on the Virtual Console versus, like, emulating or something is, like, an emulator, I can double the speed, skip through this intro scene, because this intro scene, and I remember, takes so long to get through. And, like, if you've already seen it before, I'm going to skip through probably most of the dialogue. I'm not going to bother reading it, because there's, honestly, a bit of dialogue. We'll read through a lot of the intro stuff, I guess, but later on, all the dialogue doesn't really, kind of just drags out things a little bit. Oh man, why do I get stuck on the weak team? We're just gonna lose. Where's the fun in that? Hey Mute, where's your little bear today? He didn't want his precious bear to get wet in the snow. Aw, did your mommy give you that bear? What's your problem, new kid? Leave him alone. He's not going to say anything anyways. He's like a little girl. Hey, that's gender discrimination. And I know some little girls who can kick your butt. You tell him, sister. Whoa, Ritz, what's your problem? You don't want to be on that team, right? How about we switch? We could be better. Let's start already. Or who would that be better? Let's start already. Sorry, I'm having reading problems today. You should speak up. Tell them your name at least. You can't be the new kid forever. Oh, right. I'm the new kid. He's talking about me. Generally, a lot of times with these games, I actually like to go with the actual character's name. This time, however, I'm going to put in my name. Hold on, I'm doing it wrong. There we go. Sorry, Andrew. You don't have to apologize, Mute. We haven't done anything wrong. You haven't done anything wrong. Ugh. Alright, I guess lap time anyway. Oh, you're the other cat. You haven't had lap time yet, okay. Lay down, kitty. Lay down. You're gonna get hair all over me anyway, so just lay down. Okay, Mr. Lassay? Is that how you probably say that, Mr. Lassay? We're ready to go. Then let's get this snowball fight started. Ready? Now the cool thing about the tactics games in Final Fantasy is they're a bit of a deviation from the standard Final Fantasy games. It's not like real time. It is turn-based, but it's also turn-based in the sense that you have a battlefield to move around, and you know there's different terrain advantages you can gain. Gotten used to this known Saint Ivalis yet, Andrew? It's much warmer where you're from, isn't it? Yes, sir. It's never snowed. This is practically my first snowball fight. Really? Then let me give you some pointers. Ritz, could you help us out? This is basically where it teaches you how to play the game. So let's kind of fast forward. Speed is basically turn order. So like a lot of your ranged characters are going to be faster so that they can really get a jump on, you know, tactical positioning. You can have different actions. Blah, 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 blah. Now, if I was using an emulator, I would have the advantage of speeding through a lot of this. I could double the emulation speed. Although they did... Oh. Okay. Making sure I didn't accidentally repeat. I don't know if there's many changes to the Virtual Console version. In fact, I'm not certain there are any changes. Other than, you know, being able to change have a restore point instead of having to save outside a battle. Which will be useful, I guess, if I get stuck in the middle of a battle that I really just want to pause it in. Alright, so now... whole tactical advantage. I do believe being higher up in elevation... I don't know if it gives you a better evade chance. I'm pretty sure it's evade. So now... you can see here the green indicates its range. I can't attack the teacher. You'll see later on that there's the whole judge mechanic. It'll come into play more later on. And there's also facing. When you're facing an opponent that's attacking you, you have a higher evade chance. So if you attack someone from behind, you have a better chance of hitting them, I believe. And you got to use everything to your advantage. And the whole point of this is that they're going to focus on Mute. Ah, there's a trick to throwing snowball too. It's easier to hit someone from the side or behind, as I was saying, yeah. So, it doesn't really matter where I stand at. I'm going to move over here, I guess. So now if I hover over this guy, or if I select him, it'll actually show there on the left, you can see the hit. It'll do 1 damage. I mean, damage varies a little bit. There's a little bit of RNG. It's more like a range. I believe the damage it shows there is the average amount of damage you'll do. On the snowball fight, it'll always do the 1 damage, but the hit chance is exact. It'll show you 50% chance of hitting, 50% chance of missing. Also shows I believe that's my HP in the blue, and my MP, which is magic points. Judge points, JP, will come in later. Use judge points to do like your combos and special abilities. On the right, it's the same thing, except it's the enemies. WT, I believe, is that wait time? So in other words, number of turns before their turn comes up. So this guy, he has 7 turns before his comes up. In other words, has to go through 7 different characters. I think that basically means he's last on the list. Oh, and there was a miss. And that little thing at the end there is just basically to choose which direction you end your turn facing. So like I could face away from them, but obviously that would give them a higher chance of hitting me. I do not believe there's any kind of terrain bonuses, so you can see that that guy's standing behind that little mound there. I don't think that gives him any kind of a bonus. Elma, interesting. I'll give her a little bit of an advantage, but also I get like a flanking bonus on this guy right now. Seeing a 75% chance to hit, because I'm guessing it's like 25% chance because I'm up a little bit higher, and then 25% chance because I'm flanking from behind. Oh, we got a nice crit there. As you can see, I can change the facing, but we'll just face towards the majority of the group. So I'm going to actually move behind. With my back against the wall, it makes it a lot harder for them to flank me. It really makes zero difference who I target right now, because this fight will end before before anything of real consequence happens, I suppose. And I don't really feel like losing this high ground advantage, so take a look at status of people. You can see like her move is 3, her jump is 2. I believe the jump status corresponds with how many levels of terrain you can move up. So she can move up 2 levels of terrain, kind of like your step value. If your jump was only 1, you could only go up 1 layer at a time. If you had really high jump, you could move up basically like a full cliffside. Evade is, you know, it's pretty straightforward, your evasion statistics. Your weapon, magic. Magic obviously isn't relevant in a snowball fight. Abilities will come in later. You get 2 actions. The R is a response, or basically it's going to be like a parry. S is sort of like a super ability, I believe, that you get to do every once in a while. C is a combo, what you're going to spend. Or a combo ability is kind of like anybody who's within range gets to jump in on your combo. So a combo is going to do more damage if you have more people around the enemy that you're attacking. We're just going to wait. Whole idea of this scenario is that they're just going to constantly pick on Mute because he's one of the new kids or something. He's kind of the outcast of the group. And he's quiet, so he doesn't really stand up for himself much. Kid throws a snowball with a rock in it. Basically, I go to school with a bunch of jerks. It's kind of the traditional schoolyard story where there's, you know, the group of bullies picking on the quiet new kid and so on and so forth. The teacher's not around to really control the whole thing, and there's the one tough girl who's kind of stands up for the underdog a little bit. Teacher's like, oh crap, things have gone to poop while I've been gone. And so we kind of form this trio of trust, if you will. And also as sort of part of the story, so I'm the yellow-haired character there on the bottom. I have a brother at home who can't walk. They don't really specify specifically why, other than that he's sick. And so he doesn't really, he gets kind of special treatment at home, and he's homeschooled a lot. And being unable to really get out, particularly with the snow and the fact that he's in a wheelchair, you know, he does a lot of reading. But you'll see a little bit later, we all kind of head back to my house. Kind of get this nice little town scene that really you really don't get to explore at all. That's Mute's dad, I believe, who's kind of in with the wrong crowd a little bit. Something. I don't know the whole story there. They kind of more hint at things. Like all these kids kind of come, I don't want to say broken homes, but they come from one rough situation or another. Like me and my little brother. I don't believe there's a father picture. There's a father figure in the picture at home. So mom's working hard to support for 2 kids, 1 kid who's very sick. And then Mute comes from a single dad household, I believe, and his dad's kind of, he wants to try his best, but he sometimes falls short, and sometimes I think he gets involved. He works where he can earn money, but it's not always the best time or the best place to be working, so. I don't remember what the red-haired girl's story is. They were outside the cafe, but I don't think they work. His dad works at the cafe. Yeah, when mom died, he stopped caring. He broke down big time. I bet you used to go on vacations a lot and stuff. It kind of sucks that you don't now, but I bet you used to. And I invite my new friends over. I don't know if they're new friends. I think maybe Mute's not new. Maybe I'm the new one. Maybe Mute's just kind of like the underdog that the kids are always picking on, that the bullies and stuff. Also a little bit of a suggestion that maybe when they're talking about his dad taking it hard, kind of suggestions about maybe he became a little bit of an alcoholic, but he's getting things together now, but you know, working from rock bottom is tough and stuff like that, so. Dawned, is that my brother's name? I remember my brother's name was kind of dumb. Oh, hi, welcome back. You're kind of late, aren't you? Snowball fight. No, they didn't actually. I'm not the one they pick on anymore. There's a new kid. Hey, my friends are here. And they brought some books over. We're gonna take a look at them. My little brother loves video games. Dawned. Doned? I'm guessing it probably Doned. But it's a weird name. Oh yeah, Ritz. That's the girl's name. And Mute. I think they call him that because it's kind of an ironic name. Because he doesn't really talk much. Get it? Because he's mute. Finds an old weird book at the library. And magic stuff happens. kind of like an intro cutscene of sorts. Kind of gives us a view of the new races we're going to see. I believe there are 4 or 5 different races in this game. Humans are called Hume. I don't remember the rest of them, but each of them actually has their own specific classes, and then they have their own secondary classes. It's really cool. We'll see a little bit more as we get into this. But in order to get to the secondary classes, you have to level up so much in the other classes, but you can switch freely between them at any point in time, so. I can't read these letters at all. Maybe there's some kind of magic spell. Alta Aura, yeah. When it comes to magic books, don't read the magic words out loud, because you're gonna accidentally cast some magic spell. Just read them in your mind and stuff. My little brother's super into the magic stuff because it reminds him of his video games, I guess. But what if this magic book were magic? Also, I'm guessing that skateboard over there on the right is not my brother's. I'm going to assume that's mine. Adios. It's a bit interesting that we have our own little fireplace and kettle on the stove there. Guess we're real big fans of our tea. Time for medicine. One thing I did mention about the fact that it's on the Virtual Console is, you know, with the Wii U's gamepad, I mean, it's basically an oversized Game Boy Advance with a touchscreen. So I was thinking, you know, if I ever play any in my on my own off stream, it'd be kind of handy just to have that, and I can maybe go out in the living room and stuff and play on it while I'm watching TV or whatever. Basically, the overall convenience of having it on my Wii U beat that of the convenience of an emulator. I still have it on the Game Boy Advance. It's over in my box over there. But obviously I don't have like a Game Boy Advance capture. What would be the point when I can just... It was like $7, I think, for the Virtual Console. I was like, can't beat that. Especially for the number of hours I'm inevitably going to sink into this. And you can see now, the whole world is getting transformed into a magical land. People are getting transformed into the different races. See, the weird thing is my brother is over there on the right. He just disappears. But why is the skateboard over by my brother's bed? So maybe he can walk. Maybe he just because he's so sick, he's weak and he can't use a skateboard anymore. That's what I'm going to assume. And here we are. Suddenly we wake up in a new world. Huh? Where am I? Thematically, I think it would have been more interesting if I woke up in a bed in an inn, rather than just like suddenly I'm just standing in a new world. Oh, excuse me. Watch where you're going, son. You're a lizard. Oh, that's racist. Don't call him a lizard. What'd you say? You said lizard. Takes a lot of nerve to call a Benga lizard. Or Benga. Panga. Coupeau! There you are, Coupeau! And here we have our new friend, Mont Blanc. Moogle, this human brat with you. Yes, Coupeau, he's just come in from the countryside, you see. He's but an ignorant little man. Apologize to the Bunga, Kupo. Sorry. Please excuse him. He's not used to seeing Bunga. Binga? There's the double A. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Hey, you, wait. Kupo? Those clothes. You're a soldier, aren't you? A soldier? Yes, so you wouldn't mind a little engagement? Huh? What's going on here? And now this whole thing is a little bit weird. So, in this world, all engagements, battles, fights as you would call them, are seen over by a judge. Now, the judge, he's basically there just to award points and make sure you follow the laws. At any point in time, I believe there's 2 or 3 laws that are currently enacted. Laws can be certain things like you can't use this weapon, or you can't use this kind of magic, or certain kinds of spells are not allowed. But laws also, I think there's usually like one certain things that are favored. I don't remember exactly what the word was that they use. But basically, if you use that kind of thing, if white magic is favored at that current point in time, or curative spells are favored, and you cast a healing spell, then the judge will give you an extra point because you're using the favored spell. Later on, we'll get actual law cards where we can nullify certain laws, or we can enact certain favors, or enact certain laws so that certain enemies are punished for using what they're strongest at. And it's just another tactical element to this game. So anytime you get into a fight, there's a judge. There are certain unjudged fights where, for whatever reason, the judge gets sent away or they never come. And basically, having a judge around keeps you from losing your team forever. I believe your teammates can die for good if there's no judge around. Basically, you can kill enemies permanently, and they can kill you permanently, but wait a second, I get it. Engage means fight. You're sure are a keen observer of the obvious, Kupo. There's a judge, and the laws for today are all set. Judge, laws? And he basically explains all the things I just said. And you can check the laws at any point in time. The judge, the only other element that the judge adds in is if one of your teammates is downed, or I guess if one of the enemy team's guys is downed, then at random point in times when it's the judge's turn, he'll take their body and move them to some random point on the map. And it really doesn't do anything other than cause inconvenience. I mean, it's basically like if you're trying to run over to res one of your teammates and the judge moves them to the other side of the map, it's like, ugh, and I gotta run my healer all the way through these enemies, and just another random element, I guess. Now the 10H in the upper right, I don't particularly remember what that's about. So if I hit select, it can tell me exactly. It gives me like a little contextual thing telling me what everything does. You can see some more stats here. Now I got a battle tech that I'm in the special world, and I got a combat combo. How do I? Okay, so I can see the turn order, my turn, then Mont Blanc's turn, the 2 enemies, and then there's the judge. The judge only acts every so often. I guess he acts once for every 2 of my turns. Something like that. I think maybe how often you act is based upon your speed. No, I don't know exactly how often the judge acts. Maybe it's based on the number of characters. So like every 6th time, every 6th turn is the judge's turn or something like that. I don't know. It's a bit random. I'm sure there's a method to the madness. It doesn't really matter. besides maybe if you're about to res someone and the judge is next, chances are he's going to move the person you're trying to res. Mission, you can check win conditions, defeat all enemies. That's not always the case. Sometimes it's just defeat the boss. Lose condition can just be like if one of the special NPCs goes down or something like that. Here's the laws. Basically, you can't use any items. If you use an item, he'll give you a yellow card. So many yellow cards will be a red card, and then you're basically sent to jail, and you gotta pay money to get your teammates out of jail. Recommended dark. I'm guessing that's magic. I'm pretty sure that's magic or certain abilities. So if you use dark abilities, then you get special points. So that's cool. Options. I don't know what the whole point of the color mode is, because it was on Game Boy Advance. I'm guessing the color mode came into play more if you were using the Game Boy player that connected to the bottom of the GameCube. I never had one of those. Choose one of the 3 color settings. So like older TVs would display color differently than what your Game Boy Advance was. So if you wanted to accurately reflect the colors, you could change to whatever color type. Cursor type, I don't specifically know. Speed. Hey, it's message speed. We're definitely gonna turn that to quick. Judge points. Basically, if you want to speed up combat, you can turn off some of these things so that they don't pop up every time you earn them. Show unequipable items when equipping. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, I can assign the L button. Flee. Save now. I'm going to turn it to laws for now. Fine, save changes. Could save now. I can also create a restore point via the virtual console, which is kind of nice. Unfortunately, you can't have multiple save or restore points. One downside to versus using an emulator. So now the weird thing is, like, if I'm just in the inspection menu, I can't actually see whose turn it is. Oh wait, hold on a second. 15. Oh, that's the height, the train height. So I can tell, so I can go see that that's 10 height and that's 12. So I know that I would need a jump of at least 2 to move from this low platform to up here. Otherwise, I'd have to go here to here to here. Everyone has at least 1 jump, I believe. There might be certain things that can reduce it to 0, like certain spells or something. So like you could reduce their jump to 0 and then basically get away from them so that they can't follow you. So when I'm like on this inspection mode, I can't actually see whose turn it is, which is a bit of a bummer, but you know, it's not that big of a deal. And I got fight, which is just regular attacks. I got battle attack, which is just a first aid. You can unlock more as you level up and stuff. You cannot attack corner to corner, so you see if I try to hit him here, I have to be directly adjacent to him. I probably should have moved around this guy, but I still get flanking when I'm hitting him from the side. So that's good enough for me. And you get XP for just doing stuff. Like, you don't have to worry about... I guess I don't control Mont Blanc right now. I don't have to actually get the killing blow in order to get XP. So for lower level guys who are just able to attack stuff and not really get those killing blows, they can still level up. And you get judge points every time you down someone. So like my battle tech requires magic points in order to use, but my combo requires judge points in order to use. We're behind this guy and flank him. 88% chance. See, it's a judge's turn. He's just gonna wander around. He doesn't always move the KO'd people around. That's more of a random thing, I think. I don't completely remember how flanking works with magic because you target certain spaces. I know that Mont Blanc's magic targets, it does like a little cross shape, so like you can hit multiple enemies. He's gonna use first aid. But so I don't know if like you target the space behind them if you get flanking bonus, or if you literally have to be standing behind them or get the flanking bonus with magic. Or maybe flanking bonus isn't relevant with magic. I see this guy went and stood against a wall, so I can't get a flanking bonus as easily. And he's dead. I remember when I would originally play this game, I used to think if I hit A right at the right time when I was attacking, it would affect the crits. I don't think that's an actual thing, but it always felt like it was, so I was always trying to like time it to get the crits. I always felt like I had a better chance of doing crits that way. Those little things. I remember people talking about how playing the old Monster Hunter games, you'd carve from a certain part of the monster because you were going for a certain part, even though it probably made no difference. So you don't ever actually die. Oh, he used an item. That's against the law right now. There he goes, he has a red card. So you don't always get yellow cards. Yellow cards don't send you to jail immediately. Red cards do though. I think the more yellow cards you have, the higher chance you have of getting a red card. So sometimes you gotta take a risk and break the law. Costs quite a bit to get people out of jail, I think. So you want to avoid it if you can. But if you can get that killing hit on a boss, if it's like a make or break situation, then, you know, do what you have to, I guess. Never call a banga a lizard. Professional stream right here. Texting. Skip through a lot of this stuff. What's a Moogle? They're only the best Final Fantasy creature ever. Slash race. Every Final Fantasy game kind of depicts them a little bit differently. Although I was watching, I've watched a bit of the Final Fantasy 15. And as far as I'm aware, there doesn't appear to be any kind of Moogles in that game. There is the little fox-like guy, whatever his name was, her name. But I don't remember there being any actual Moogles in that game. I thought Moogles are one of those things that just kind of are in every Final Fantasy game, but I guess not. I'm trying to explain my story, like I'm not supposed to be here, I was in a different world. And it's like, okay, well, do you want to start a gang and go beat up random creatures? Make some money? Sure, why not? Got nothing better to do now that I'm in this weird place. Nobody I know. And this is the bar where, of course, you meet everybody and recruit your gang. Sorry, clan. Mont Blanc is sort of like the PR guy for the team. Oh, what are we gonna call our clan? What's a good name for a clan? Nutsy. That was what was filled out by default. We're the suckers. I spelled that wrong. I'm kind of okay with it being wrong. We're clan suckers. Clan suckers, there we go. I don't know if you can ever change that either. So we're stuck with it. Now here's the weird thing. The world starts out as empty, and you basically place worlds. You basically place things on the map where you want to build the world out as you see it. I don't think it makes any difference where you place them. I think by placing things on certain spaces, it unlocks certain missions. So like, it doesn't matter what I would place on this spot right here, but as soon as I do place something on that spot, it unlocks missions for that location. So I think I'm gonna kind of make this little central square our towns. So we'll place our first city there. And there we are. We have clan funds, King Moon Day 1. We can take a look at the items or the current laws. And I believe, so there's the current laws, and I believe these are upcoming ones. So shells, whatever that is going to be forbidden. Silence is going to be recommended. Poison, protect. So you can kind of anticipate current laws. Like if you see like, oh, swords are coming up here soon as a forbidden law. That's going to really suck because a lot of my guys use swords. So I'm going to try and either build up a team that doesn't rely on swords, or I'm going to find a law that nullifies that or something like that. And you know, but we've been going for a little bit here. I'm going to take a little bit of a break, and then we'll come back and really get into some of these missions. Don't go anywhere. I think I'm going to leave it with this music, this little chiptune music. It's kind of fun, right? Anyways, be right back. Oh, it doesn't... Okay, the Elgato music goes away. That's fine. We'll manage. Maybe I'll start up some OC Remix in the meantime. So, here's some OC Remix for you guys. Be right back. Oh man. So like as I got up, it just suddenly started downpouring. It's been raining a little bit off and on for the last couple of days, but as I just got up, it just started downpouring like crazy. Like, I'm gonna only turn off the music. I can't hear it with my headphones on, but I don't know. It's calmed down just a little bit. It was just like, it was like one of those little microbursts kind of things. Is that what you'd call them? I opened up my curtains so I could look at the rain. Man, I love the rain though. So, as I started streaming, I began to realize, you know what? It's lunchtime and I forgot to eat and my blood sugar is plummeting. So, I'm just going to take a little bit of time to eat some food here on the stream. Don't mind me. We'll sit here and chat for a little while, I guess. Got myself just a little burrito. I'm like an IRL streamer now, back in the day. Before Twitch had its IRL section, you had to actually pretend to care about video games in order to stream. How awful must that have been? I didn't really take a look if opening up my window messed with my green screen at all. Why do my lips look so red? Look at that. They're like... They just look... Did the opening the window mess with something? I don't know why they suddenly look so red. My lips become very red when I'm hungry. I gotta eat a little bit though, just... Don't want to get the shakes, you know. We can eat and play though. No reason we can't do that. Helps if I chew my food before I try and swallow it. So, I'm kind of wondering... I don't know, I don't want to leave it. I was thinking I would leave it on that screen. Because it's an old Game Boy Advance game. How big does it seriously need to be in order to see it? We'll leave it like this. I think that's fine, full screen. Doesn't really matter. So, anyways... We now have a team. We now have a party. 6 people is the maximum number of active people you can have in your roster. I don't know if there's a limit to the clan, though. It's pretty high up, if I remember correctly, so... Anyways, we now have one of each team member, or one of each race type. We have 2 humans, or humes, as they're called in this universe. Because I am a hume. But however, we now have... So we have Mont Blanc, Benton, Loki, Seth, and Edda. All their names are randomly generated. Like, there's only a handful of unique characters. Mont Blanc is always Mont Blanc. I'm always me. Later on, we'll come across some other unique characters, named characters, that aren't randomly generated. So, if we take a look at each of these guys, Mont Blanc, he's limited on his jobs, I believe. You can't actually get access to all the jobs. So here I am. I could change my job to a thief. And these are unique to the human class. Some of them, I do believe there's a little overlap, like White Mage and Black Mage are available to some of the other races, but... so there's Thief, White Mage, and you can see my stats change as I change classes. Black Mage, Archer. Now, these are all the primary classes. There's actually a list of a whole bunch of... at least as many secondary classes. In order to unlock the secondary classes, I have to level up in these different classes. Like, if I level up so much in Soldier class, I get... You know, actually, let's bring it up. Let me see if I can bring up the tree. Here's the image I'm looking for. I'm just gonna overlay this over the entire game, because why not? You gonna load? What am I missing? What are you complaining about? It's not letting me click. You can hear that. Uh-oh, did I break it? I think I broke OBS. Guys, what am I gonna do? There's probably like a pop-up box, but I can't see it because it's on my other monitor. No? What is the problem, OBS? Like I tried to open up the image. Boogers. Okay. Well, this is cool. There's probably like a message box somewhere? Telling me it couldn't open the image? Well, that's obnoxious to say the least. I was gonna show the job trees, and it was going to be fun and stuff. Well, anyways, I can at least look at him here. So, once I hit level 2 soldier, I can then either become a paladin or fighter. If I hit level 2 thief, I can become a ninja. So, archer, level 2 archer, I can become a hunter. Blue mage, I need 1 level in black mage and 1 level in white mage, or an illusionist, which is 5 levels in black and 3 in white. I believe that's how I'm supposed to read this tree. And so now, Mont Blanc, who is a Moogle, has access to 3 jobs starting out. However, the Animus breaks out into a Gunner or Mog Knight, which I think he might be limited. I don't know if he can become a Gunner. Be interesting to know for sure, but like, can I just... Oh, it unequipped all items. Animists are kind of cool. If I remember correctly, they're the ones that have summon pets. So like, the Animist job isn't to do all the damage himself, but to summon these creatures who will then do all the damage for you. Thief breaks out into a Snuggler. I don't know what that is. It's kind of weird. A Snuggler or a Gadgeteer. I kind of like the idea of a Snuggler, though. It just snuggles them to death. And then Black Mage breaks out into a Time Mage, but that's not till level 5. I'm going to leave Mont Blanc as a Black Mage. Black Mage is pretty good early on, if I remember correctly. Where I went through humans. The White Monk here. Your jobs. The Bongo's jobs. Only 2 jobs starting out. It looks like everyone has at least 5 or 6 subclasses. So White Monk breaks out into a Bishop or a Templar. Warrior breaks out into a Dragoon, Defender, or Gladiator. That's it. The Numus. So, let's see their jobs here. White Mage breaks out into... I'll just go through their subclasses. So, they can become a Morpher, which is 5 of the Beastmaster. A Sage is 2 of Beastmaster, 3 of White Mage. Illusionist is just 3 of White Mage. There's an Alchemist, which is... Oh no, Illusionist is 3 of White Mage and 5 of Black Mage. Kind of like the humans. Alchemist is under Black Mage, and then Time Mage is under Black Mage. So there are some duplicate classes across the races, but then there's also unique ones, like the Sage is unique to the Numus. And lastly is the Viera, I believe is how you pronounce it. They have Red Mage, Elementalist, Summoners, Assassin, and Snipers. So it's pretty cool. There's a lot of deep variation you can really get into with this game. I don't know what to do about OBS though. Hang on a second. Can I actually change? See if I can do this by keyboard. I'll have to wait for it to update on stream to know if it successfully transferred to the first scene or not. Okay, it did transfer. Okay, so I can... I have to bring up my other... It doesn't matter. It's the way my whole system is set up. If I Alt F4, is that just gonna break everything? I feel like it will. What do you want from me, OBS? I can't even see if you're... Like, I would expect some kind of like a little dialogue box to pop up. Like, if I want to stop streaming, am I literally going to have to Alt F4? Okay, fine. We'll be right back. You know, if I could actually... It won't even let me close it out here. Can I do it this way? I can't even close OBS. I gotta restart OBS. We'll be right back. End task.